Dortmund's lead striker, the Guinean machine, the one who is on the levels of Mbappe and other strikers, or the world-class strikers in the world, if we talk about the amount of goals scored. Yes, I'm talking about Serhou Guirassy. He had an amazing season, and that is reflected by his nomination for this year's Ballon d'Or. In this video, I'm going to be discussing his chances of winning the award. To his stats, he scored 45 goals and provided 6 assists in the 56 matches he played in all competitions. That is on par with the likes of Mbappe, whom people are saying, although he didn't win any sort of trophies, any big trophies, that he is also a front runner for the Ballon d'Or. So why doesn't Guirassy get that much? Probably because he doesn't play for Real Madrid and is a Dortmund player. In the Bundesliga, he scored a goal in every 124 minutes he played. That is a pretty impressive stat. He had 2.34 shots per 90, 34 out of 63 shots on target, 3.32 shots per goal scored, and 106 aerial duels won. This just goes on to show that he is a proper tall striker that will just win the balls in the air and get your team going. To an even important factor, because this is the one on whose basis most of the players get decided upon their finishing position in the award. Trophies, obviously, but unfortunately for Serhou Guirassy, he wasn't able to win any. Dortmund had a nightmare of a season, and mind you, in the first half of the season they were absolutely trash, bottling a 2-0 lead at the Bernabeu. This just goes on to show how bad their managerial system was. Nuri Sahin, you might be a club legend, but yeah, you're not a good manager. At least, pause. I'm saying this right now because of his performances. But then when the new manager came in, things got a little bit, balanced, and Dortmund were able to finish 4th and qualify for the Champions League next season in the Bundesliga. In the UCL, they got knocked out in the quarterfinal round by Barcelona, and in the DFB Copa, they didn't even make it to the round of 16. Oh my god. Now this is an early competition when most of the teams give their second team a chance to perform in this competition, and the second team just bottled it, so that's the reason they were out of the competition early. And in this Club World Cup as well, they got knocked out by none other than Real Madrid, the one who gives them nightmares every single time they face each other. Trophyless season, no matter, because Mbappe almost had the same fate, except he has better PR, so yeah, that's the reason he's getting talked about more than Serhou Guirassy. But if you ask a Dortmund fan, they will probably say that Serhou Guirassy was the best striker of the 24-25 season. Let's talk about his highlights that define Serhou Guirassy's entire 24-25 season, which means his key performances. First of all, at the start of the season, he had a 4-game scoring streak in which he scored 6 goals in 4 games. Brilliant start to the season, and this was a time when Dortmund fans got to know that, yup, this man is going to do big things for us this season. Well, I remember Jamie Bino-Gittens was also getting those best striker in the world shouts after he scored against Real Madrid, but we know how that turned out. Nevertheless, another key performance was African Cup of Nations qualifiers, 5 goals in 2 matches versus Ethiopia. I don't know what kind of a format there is in the African Cup of Nations, but Guinea, his national team, faced Ethiopia 2 times in a row, in which both of the matches he scored He got the player of the match, and in one of them he scored a hat-trick, and in the other he scored a brace of 5 goals in 2 matches for his national team. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Then the highlight of his season: 2 goals versus Barcelona in the UCL group stage. Alright, I'm not talking about the quarterfinal, it's the group stage. Although Dortmund lost this match, it was a fighting performance by Serhou Guirassy. And he also scored 4 goals versus Union Berlin in the Bundesliga. And now the blockbuster performance of the season that made even the Barca fans applaud this man. Hat-trick versus Barcelona in the UCL quarterfinal. Man, this was a special performance. Although Dortmund were 4-0 down after the first leg, in the second leg they were able to overcome Barcelona, just winning 3-1 with all of the 3 goals being scored by Serhou Guirassy. But Barcelona managed to win 1 goal, and then there was a 2-goal deficit, and that's the reason they went through and Dortmund didn't. But this match proved that Serhou Guirassy is a true warrior. And another somewhat of good performance would be 2 goals versus Monterrey in the Club World Cup round of 16, but it didn't even matter because, well, it did matter because they were able to make some money by going through the next round, but then they faced Real Madrid and everything just went downhill. But Serhou Guirassy also scored in that match, and they were trying to make a comeback late, but unfortunately the ref blew the whistle and they were out of the tournament. Nevertheless, Serhou Guirassy's entire season was blockbuster. Finally, I'm going to be giving my prediction as to will Serhou Guirassy be able to win the Ballon d'Or. Well, as I have analyzed all his stats and important factors previously, now I have concluded that his season was eerily similar to Mbappe's, and if Mbappe doesn't have a chance, he doesn't as well. Look here, Mbappe scored a hat-trick against Barcelona. He scored a hat-trick against Barcelona. Mbappe was able to rack 45 goals this season. He was able to rack 45 goals this season. Mbappe was low on the assist, but that doesn't matter as a striker. Nevertheless, you get the point. Mbappe didn't win any major thing. He didn't win any major thing. And the only big recognition he was able to get was getting into the Bundesliga team of the season. So overall, his season wasn't bad. Individually, it was absolutely brilliant and one of the best in the entire world. Except Gyökeres, obviously. I don't know how Mbappe just managed to win the Golden Boot. Yep, but we'll take it. Yep. As for Guirassy, yeah, he doesn't have a chance because there are many nominees that are front runners because of the amount of trophies they have won. But as for Guirassy, he hasn't won any, so yeah, that's the reason that he doesn't stand a chance. Although I think that due to the high amount of goals he scored, he might just get into the top 15 of the ranking of the Ballon d'Or, and if it doesn't happen, it would be just atrocious. I don't know what Ballon d'Or is doing. Nevertheless, this was about Serhou Guirassy and his chances of winning the Ballon d'Or 24-25. See you guys in the next one, and until then, adios.